Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 18. Pṛthu Maharaj milks the Earth Planet. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Itam Pṛthum Abhishtuya Rusa Prasforitadaram Punar Ahava Nirbita Samstabhyatmanam Atmana. The great Saint Maitreya continued to address Vidura. My dear Vidura, at that time, after the planet Earth finished her prayers, King Pṛthu was still not pacified and his lips trembled in great anger. Although the planet Earth was frightened, she made up her mind and again began to speak as follows in order to convince the king. Text 2. Sanhiyacha bibho manyum nibodha shravitam chame sarvata sharam adate yatamadu karo buddha. My dear Lord, please pacify your anger completely and hear patiently whatever I submit before you. Please turn your kind attention to this. I may be very poor, but a learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, just as a bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower. Text 3. Asmil loke tava musmin munibis tattvadarshibhi drista yoga prayuktascha pumsam shreya prasiddhaye. To benefit all human society, not only in this life but in the next. The great seers and sages have prescribed various methods conducive to the prosperity of the people in general. Purport. Vedic civilization takes advantage of the perfect knowledge presented in the Vedas and presented by great sages and brahmanas for the benefit of human society. Vedic injunctions are known as Shruti, and the additional supplementary presentations of these principles, as given by the great sages, are known as Smriti. They follow the principles of Vedic instruction. Human society should take advantage of the instructions from both Shruti and Smriti. If one wants to advance in spiritual life, he must take these instructions and follow the principles. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one poses himself as advanced in spiritual life, but does not refer to the Shrutis and Smritis, he is simply a disturbance in society. One should follow the principles laid down in Shrutis and Smritis, not only in one's spiritual life, but in material life as well. As far as human society is concerned, it should follow the Manu Smriti as well, for these laws are given by Manu, the father of mankind. In the Manu Smriti, it is stated that a woman should not be given independence, but should be given protection by her father, husband, and elderly sons. In all circumstances, a woman should remain dependent upon some guardian. Presently, women are given full independence like men, but actually we can see that such independent women are no happier than those women who are placed under guardians. If people follow the injunctions given by great sages, Shrutis, and Smritis, they can actually be happy in both this life and the next. Unfortunately, rascals are manufacturing so many ways and means to be happy. Everyone is inventing so many methods. Consequently, human society has lost the standard ways of life, both materially and spiritually. And as a result, people are bewildered, and there is no peace or happiness in the world. Although they are trying to solve the problems of human society in the United Nations, they are still baffled. Because they do not follow the liberated instructions of the Vedas, they are unhappy. Two significant words used in this verse are asmin and amusmin. Asmin means in this life, and amusmin means in the next life. Unfortunately, in this age, even exalted professors and learned men believe that there is no next life, and still everything is finished, and that everything is finished in this life. Since they are rascals and fools, what advice can they give? Still, they are passing as learned scholars and professors. In this verse, the word amusman is very explicit. It is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will have a profitable next life. Just as a boy is educated in order to become happy later, one should be educated in this life in order to attain an eternal and prosperous life after death. It is therefore essential that people follow what is given in Shrutis and Smritis to make sure that the human mission is successful. Text 4. Tan attistatya samyag upayan purvadarshitan avhara shraddhayopeta upayan vindate gyasa. One who follows the principles and instructions enjoined by the great sages of the past can utilize these instructions for practical purposes. Such a person can very easily enjoy life and pleasures. Purport. The Vedic principles Mahajano Yena Gata Sapantaha urge us to follow in the footsteps of great liberated souls. In this way, we can receive benefit in both this life and the next, and we can also improve our material life. By following the principles laid down by great sages and saints of the past, we can very easily understand the aim of all life. The word avhara, meaning inexperienced, is very significant in this verse. Every conditioned soul is inexperienced. Everyone is abodhajata, born a fool and a rascal. In democratic government, at the present moment, all kinds of fools and rascals are making decisions. But what can they do? What is the result of their legislation? They enact something today just to whimsically repeal it tomorrow. One political party utilizes a country for one purpose, and the next moment another political party forms a different type of government and nullifies all the laws and regulations. This process of chewing the chewed, puna punascharvita charvananam, will never make human society happy. In order to make all human society happy and prosperous, we should accept the standard methods given by liberated persons. Text 5. Tan anadritya yo vidvan arthan arhabate svayam tasyavya vicharantyartha arhabdascha puna puna. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and desires, and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions, is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. Purport. At the present moment, it has become fashionable to disobey the unimpeachable directions given by the acharyas and liberated souls of the past. Presently, people are so fallen that they cannot distinguish between a liberated soul and a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is hampered by the 4 defects. He is sure to commit mistakes. He is sure to become illusioned. He has a tendency to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. Consequently, we have to take direction from liberated persons. This Krishna consciousness movement directly receives instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead via persons who are strictly following his instructions. Although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the supreme liberated personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of material nature. Lord Chaitanya therefore says, by my order you may become a spiritual master. One can immediately become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by following his instructions. Materialistic men are not interested in taking directions from a liberated person, but they are very much interested in their own concocted ideas, which make them repeatedly fail in their attempts. Because the entire world is now following the imperfect directions of conditioned souls, humanity is completely bewildered. Text 6. Purashrista sadhayo brahmanaya vishampate bhujamana maya drishta asadbir adrita vratai. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non-devotees who are devoid of all spiritual understanding. Purport. Lord Brahma created this material world for the use of the living entities, but it was created according to a plan that all living entities who might come into it to dominate it for sense gratification would be given directions by Lord Brahma in the Vedas in order that they might ultimately leave it and return home back to Godhead. All necessities grown on earth, namely fruits, flowers, trees, grains, animals, and animal byproducts, were created for use in sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. However, the planet Earth, in the shape of a cow herein, submits that all these utilities are being used by non-devotees who have no plans for spiritual understanding. Although there are immense potencies within the earth for the production of grains, fruits, and flowers, this production is checked by the earth itself when it is misused by non-devotees who have no spiritual goals. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything can be used for his satisfaction. Things should not be used for the sense gratification of living entities. This is the whole plan of material nature according to the directions of this material nature. In this verse, the words asadbi and adrita vratai are important. The word asadbi refers to the non-devotees. The non-devotees have been described in Bhagavad Gita as duskritina, miscreants, and mudha, asses or rascals, or naradma, the lowest of mankind. Naradama, the lowest of mankind. And mayaya partha jnana, mayaya partha jnana, those who have lost their knowledge to the power of the illusory energy. All these persons are asat, non-devotees. Non-devotees are also called grihavrata, whereas the devotee is called dritavrata. The whole Vedic plan is that the misguided conditioned souls who have come to lord it over material nature should be trained to become dritavrata. This means that they should take a vow to satisfy their senses or enjoy material life only by satisfying the senses of the Supreme Lord. Activities intended to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, are called Krishnarte Kila Chista. This indicates that one can attempt all kinds of work, but one should do so to satisfy Krishna. This is described in Bhagavad Gita as yagyarta karma. The word yagya indicates Lord Vishnu. We should work only for his satisfaction. In modern times, Kali Yuga, however, people have forgotten Vishnu altogether, and they conduct their activities for sense gratification. Such people will gradually become poverty-stricken, for they cannot use things which are to be employed by the Supreme Lord for their own sense gratification. If they continue like this, there will be ultimately become a state of poverty, and no grains, fruits, or flowers will be produced. Indeed, it is stated in 12th Canto of Bhagavatam that at the end of Kali Yuga, people will be so polluted that there will no longer be any grains, wheat, sugarcane, or milk. And thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 7 on Friday. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Adivas Avirbhav Mahamahotsav, Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapali Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Dandavat Pranam.